Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bogey Proof. Matt and Mike hopping on to chat a little bit of Olympics. Special week, a unique week in golf. So just want to go over a couple storylines and what we're looking forward to this week. But Matt, where are you coming from and what are you sipping on?
Yeah, we are in Connecticut yet again, finally enjoying some halfway decent weather, back in the 70s, whatever. But real excited for the Olympics. It's like I hand up, I really didn't watch any of 2016 golf in Rio or whatever it was. Probably due to just the amount of Americans that didn't really make that trip due to the Zika or whatever the heck was going on then. Of course, we got COVID now, fun stuff. But anyways, I'm excited to watch some golf. There's some really cool storylines going on. Stuff that you don't see every week. It's just a kind of a different animal. So, and it's prime time, right? We're recording this on Wednesday night, and the golf has already kind of begun. And coverage is, I think, probably already going on. But I'll be able to watch a decent amount of primetime golf here as I eat my dinner after we record this podcast. So I'm super excited to watch some Olympic golf and see some, a individual event for a team goal, essentially, right? But and also just drinking water. Got to work a little bit later tonight as well. But how about yourself? What are you
Work,
thinking on? Where
primetime
you coming
golf.
from?
Work, primetime golf, live tweeting. Like you got yourself a
Gonna have a lot of
night to come.
screaming going. Gonna have to get some blue light glasses.
Yeah. Well, hand up, I'm not drinking either because I am currently in my office here in downtown Chicago. So, it's not in Fridays in the office here. They do bring in cocktails and kegs and sometimes a bartender, but it is Wednesday. So that is not going on. We just released some earnings here today. So snuck away from the finance floor while people are still grinding. And I'm down with the developers. So, there's like three people left on the floor. One of them's in pajamas. And the other one is just in a t-shirt and like sweatpants. So, this is a comfy spot to be doing a podcast from and chatting a little bit of golf. Really excited for this week. Um, I actually remember the Olympics in Rio quite well, just because there was a lot of controversy about the golf course and Gil Hans going down there for like a year prior. Um, so, I kind of remember that story, and that was really one of his first bigger projects. And really, since then, he's been brought on to do a bunch of restorations all over the country on some high level golf courses. Um, but I do remember, yeah, we had some people that didn't make it. Um, and we had interesting list for. I think Justin Rose won the gold medal. Is that
Yep.
correct? I can't remember who won the silver, but I know
It was
Matt Kuchar.
Stenson.
Stenson. Okay,
I
yep.
think so.
Stenson was a silver medalist, and then we had Matt Kuchar, winning the bronze. None of which are in the field this week. So I think, right, that kind of shows you we've definitely had some turnover in the game of golf. We still had some steady people. I don't think Rory
He
went
didn't
last
play.
time. He didn't play last time, and we'll get into him a little bit and chatting a little bit about the motivation of players and who wants to be there, why they're there, and that's really a storyline for this week. But yeah, looking forward to this week. The golf course looks pure. Um, I saw some crazy attention to detail photos. Like I know we were talking the other week about the Open, how they like were burning the edges.
Yep.
I saw a picture on PGA Tour Instagram. Guy was out there with like tweezers on the edge of the bunkers, just like lining them perfectly. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty spectacular. That right. We have 60 men this week and then 60 women teeing it up for the Olympics. So really only 100 people, 120 people on a golf course over the course of 2 weeks. That is not a lot. That is, a very small portion of a normal PGA Tour, LPGA Tour field. Um, so we should get some interesting coverage. We should get to see almost every shot, right? Like I gotta think with the coverage, and we have like 6 or 8 hours worth of coverage. I'm hoping we're gonna get to see every shot, or at least every shot's been videoed. Have you heard anything about that as far as like, does the app, are they, I don't know what's going on really, to be perfectly
I'm
honest,
not
but
like, yeah, to be fair, I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that like it's on Golf Channel, like starting at right now. Let me just check. I tweeted earlier today. Shout out Bogey Proof Tweets on Twitter. Follow us. That it's, let's see, Wednesday, 6:30 to 3 a.m. on Golf Channel. This is all on Golf Channel this week, it looks like. I'm sure key points of the 4-day stroke play event they're doing here, 72 holes. Key moments, whether it's like final round on their Sunday, our Saturday night, whatever it may be, that'll make it to NBC and be a little bit more live on the main channel for the Olympics. But Golf Channel is going to have all of it as well,
Mhm.
from like kind of beginning to end each day. It looks like 6:30 to 3 a.m. is the slot Eastern time. So that's
I mean, that's a good slot.
round one, two, three, four, all the same. 6:30 a.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern. So I don't think I'll be up anywhere near the end of any of these rounds, but that 6:30 to like probably 10 o'clock window for me would just be golf for the next 3-4 days. So looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, you'll have to catch the rerun the next day of the the people fighting for the gold medal on Saturday night
Right.
for us. But that's all right. I mean, hopefully, I mean, it's going to be recorded. You probably can watch it Sunday morning if you really wanted to.
Right.
Um, Sipping on your coffee, little Open Championship vibes out there. But yeah, looking forward to a fun week. I think let's chat a little bit about the format. And we alluded to it a little bit here, a little bit before, but 60 people in the field, and technically they're individuals this week. Yes, they are in the field and representing a country, but a country doesn't win a medal. The individual is winning the medal in this case. So we really have kind of this interesting situation of an individual sport, representing a country, sort of a team event, sort really not a team event. So kind of just an interesting week as a whole. Um, but 72 holes of stroke play, and jump in here kind of if I mess anything up, but 72 holes of stroke play, and 3 people get medals. There's no tie for a bronze medal. There's no tie for a gold. If we end up with 3 people tied at the end of of 72 holes, they're gonna have a sudden death playoff for that gold medal, and then they're gonna go and finish off for the silver and the bronze. So really cool, like finite. Hey, there's 3 people out of 60 people in this field that are gonna, in this case, cash a check,
Yeah.
for a medal. So that's fun in itself. A top 10 doesn't mean much, right? Like, or
Mhm.
no one's gonna remember the guy that finished in 8th place at the Open Championship.
or even
So
or even fourth, right? I mean, I think that's the kind of, like you said, it's kind of the nuanced thing that you get to look for this week is a third place is pretty damn good, right? Because you're getting a medal. Like, yeah, it's not gold, but you're getting a medal. Where third place normally, like, yeah, you're getting a pretty nice check, but you're not getting really anything outside of the check. Where here you're still grind. Like, it probably overemphasizes like even more like every shot counts, and like come the back nine on Sunday, if you're in solo second and you're 2 shots back going on 18, and again, I don't know this golf course by hand, but like you're probably not playing to like try and hole out or make an eagle or catch that guy in front of you or even really push for a birdie. You're probably like, I got a silver medal locked up right now. Like if I go crazy here, I could just poof and be eighth and nobody cares. So it's like it'll be a little bit interesting to see come the back nine Sunday. Like obviously all these guys are striving for gold. Um, but if depending on how that leaderboard shakes out come the back nine, it'll be interesting to see how aggressive people are if they're in third by a shot coming on 18. Like, do they really push to try and get silver? Do they make sure they lock up a medal at all? Like, I think that's a whole different animal. That probably does play a little bit of a role on the PGA Tour, depending the type of event. I mean, difference between third place points and like fifth place points or eighth place points on the PGA Tour for FedEx Cup and the actual check you're getting is pretty significant. But when you're actually getting a physical medal out of it or literally nothing, I think it might just hit a little bit different come that back nine Sunday.
yeah, for sure. And I think the Olympics, and especially with COVID going on, it's a commitment to be there in Tokyo, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not easy, for the guys on the U.S. team, for Xander, for JT, um, for Morikawa, for Patrick Reed now because Bryson's not making the trip. It's not easy to get over there to Tokyo, to spend a week, spend some time in quarantine, really do nothing besides play golf and work out and hang out in your room in the Olympic Village. This is a commitment of a couple weeks of your life. Yes, the experience is awesome, and they've chatted a lot about, oh, it's amazing to go and represent your country and go through this with other Olympic athletes, but it's got to hurt if you know you're capable, right?
Hmm.
Morikawa, after winning the Open Championship, he's got to think that he's going to win gold medal this week. He's got to
Hmm.
think that he's got a really good chance to medal, just, to medal in general. And if he doesn't, it's going to be a pretty tough pill to swallow. He just missed out on a couple weeks of celebrating his Open Championship, getting back to the States, enjoying that aspect, to go over here to Tokyo. So kind of that weighing of the experience and also the result is even probably heightened more than ever before.
Yeah, and the U.S. team has a couple different weird like dynamics and angles going on, just from a like you're saying Morikawa, right? Fresh off a major championship, had a really solid year. Probably he might have passed JT in the world rankings to be third behind like Rom and DJ. He's got to be really close. I mean, he had such a solid year. He got 2 wins, one being WC, the other being a major. So those are like little extra bonus points there. But like you're saying, like he's the odds-on favorite. He's like plus 500. JT's plus 850, right? So 5 to 1, 8.5 to 1, to win gold. But at the same time, he's like, it's a weird limbo of, wow, I just won a major, my second and whatever, and like there's a little bit of a lull in the PGA Tour schedule. Obviously, Olympics has a role in that, but also in general, there is after that last major before the playoffs start. Like, do I want to just really enjoy that and like live my life, or like do I want to like I said, go to Tokyo, quarantine, grind, and really get back right into that mode again as best you can? Like, it's a weird mental space to be in. And then you have the opposite on the spectrum, like Patrick Reed, who late edition or whatever, late, fill in, whatever the correct, word is there, where like he got there like a day before, like didn't have a lot of time to, see the course, get practice rounds in, whatever. I think he quarantined in the States and then flew over or something. I forget how that all worked out, but like he was on the plane yesterday, right? So it's not like he's been there for a week or so, like everybody else has been, seeing the course, practice round, getting acclimated, like the jet lag, all those different things. So like that's a total different spot to be in from, and then trying to go compete, right? And at the end of the day, like you said, there's the whole like, yes, I want to play for my country and like get that experience of being in the Olympic Village and, being with around other freak superior athletes, right? Like that's a whole experience in itself. And to try and like, then go clock in and really grind for 4 days, like that a 72 hole stroke play event requires, just a very like, and I think this is a good way to transition into like the motivation aspect we're looking for. Like it's just a weird spot to be in where like you can very well get overwhelmed by the moment, because it's not just the golf tournament this week, right? Like it's not just the major and all eyes on the major. It's, yes, there's an Olympic gold at stake here, but like there's 20 others going on like each day of our 4 day event. Like there's
I,
just so much else going on and so many other, celebrities and like famous, I guess they don't like, I don't know, famous athletes, right? Like, you got Simone Biles, you got like Ledecky or whatever name, I forget her first name, the swimmer, but like, just personalities and like these impressive athletes that like, I'm sure being a golfer, like after your practice round, like you're probably like, damn, like I wonder what they're up to. Like, what do they look like when they train? Like, like all those kind of different things where, and you can also build like these incredible relationships that like you have no other way of getting. Like, there's just so much going on that at the end of the day, like getting into the mental headspace you need to be to win a 72 hole stroke play event with, you know, top tier players in the world, being like the US team has 4 of the top 12 in the world on their team and making the trip. It's like, you can't just go out there and scrape it around and expect to win this, win to, place or get a medal or whatever. So it's like, it's just a weird headspace to be as highly ranked as the US team is, to, also have the weird travel situation and also like just the experience going on around you to be able to like really lock in and, put the blinders on for 4 days. It's an interesting spot, cause they don't, it's like, and not to steal all the motivation takes here, but like, a guy like Sung Jae and Siwoo Kim, who we've mentioned, multiple times, talked about in our open previews, and that they skipped that week to really prep for this week because they're playing for the right to like be exempt from their required or mandatory military service. So it's like, it's either like a medal for them or they literally go to war, right? Like I don't know how much more motivated you need to be, right? So it's like for these guys, like their blinders are on, like they don't care who else is there, right? Like maybe after the 4 days conclude, they'll enjoy themselves in the village. I don't know exactly how all that works with when they have to leave or whatever, but like I think of a guy like that, or a couple guys like that, and the pressure that they have on themselves by their country and whatever, versus a guy like JT or Xander. Like they have nothing even close to that to play for this week. So it's like with everything else going on, it's just I feel like it's a very easy situation to just go out there and like, yeah, once they tee the ball up, they're going to be trying 100%. But it's like, are they really locked in 1,000,000% on all the prep work they're doing, or are they just like enjoying themselves? Working, hitting the range, playing the practice round, seeing the course, whatever. There's just a different focus to it. They talk about it from a PGA Tour event to a major all the time. Like, where are they at in their headspace, given that they're not, under the pressure of a Sungjae or Siwoo Kim, don't have like the motivation internally to, it's not like they need a gold medal, right? It's a need versus a, hey, this is an awesome experience. I'm enjoying myself. It's just very different vibes across all the different countries. I'm sure if you go down the list, everybody's got different angles that they have and different personal and, country related motivations. But it's just the Olympic golf. I'm really looking forward to it just due to that, right? I think it's new. We don't have that kind of juxtaposition within the field every week. And I'm looking forward to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. I think there's we just have so many different perspectives coming into this week and so many kind of internal storylines, and each player really kind of holds their story more true than any like normal week. I think there's a lot of events on the PGA Tour that people go to that they really don't care about, or they don't really they don't really love the course, or they don't love the city, it's far from home, or whatever the case may be. And they kind of just go in there and they do it because it's their job and they have to play in a certain number of PGA Tour events. And
I was
but
playing for a ton of money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's, if it's a course that you think you can play well at, you probably play at. But I also think I kind of equate this week's Open to the Olympics to kind of like a hometown tournament, right? Like if we were PGA Tour players and we're coming to town for the Travelers Championship, and we have, you know, tens, 20s, hundreds of friends and family coming to the event, wanting our time outside, you're going to get additional media coverage, right? Because you're surrounded by your local media and the people that saw you kind of grow up and do all those type of things. You're probably going to be one of the headliners in the, for all the different interviews. There's probably going to be some sort of dinners or whatever the case may be. That is very much the way what's happening this week, right? Like Hideki Matsuyama for Japan this week in his home country. Every minute that he's not prepping on the golf course, he has media obligation. There's a Japan Olympic team function, or just an Olympics overall function that they need to be there, whether it's the opening ceremonies if they were there, or whatever sort of obligation that they have. So I think more so than ever, and then more than a normal week, is that pretty much every hour, every minute to the day, for this period of time is pretty much accounted for. And I think a lot of times, and for some of those younger guys that are big on social media, we see that they have some time to enjoy themselves and kind of relax and do some of those things outside. I'm not sure that they're going to get the opportunity to do some of those things that they like to do on a weekly basis, that help them mentally, kind of step away or do whatever. Like, I just think I don't care if it's not your sport. You're probably just mentally fired up, right? Like if you're JT and you're going to a swimming event and Katie Ledecky is, winning gold in the 1500 meters like she did last night, like there's no way that you're not like standing up and excited for your country and for your fellow Olympian. So I think, and coming from our perspective of people who have played, competitive golf, not nearly on this sort of level, but you need some time to decompress. Like it is impossible to go out there and play well after, not sleeping or not having an opportunity to decompress from the previous round or the travel or whatever the case may be. So I I think there's a couple of things, right? You can probably take a handful of people out of the running for a medal this week just because surely they probably they don't have the ability as compared to, maybe the top 15 or 20 guys. And then I think just who's there and who who's motivated for a medal and who's motivated by the experience and just there kind of running along. Like I think was something we chatted about a little bit before is like we won't really know, and I don't think anyone's ever going to come out and say, oh, like I didn't really care about this week. I was just kind of, walking down the fairways, looking around, like enjoying everything that goes into it. But I think we'll probably hear on the outside a little bit like, oh, some so and so was out watching this event the night before his 8 o'clock tee time the next morning or whatever the case may be, and like we don't really hear that on the PGA Tour, but that would be a headline if that was the case. And it's tough to fault someone for wanting to go out and do that experience. But it's definitely, something that people are going to, the guys are going to toggle with kind of throughout the week, right? If JT's in one of the last groups, but there's something going on, that's a real, internal question you have to ask yourself. Hey, am I going to go do this?
Once
Go
in
to
a
this event.
lifetime event, like, or am I going to go prep for my event the next day? Like, I'm sure, every athlete in that village goes through it, but it's a good
Yep.
point. Like, it's like, which one do I really care about? Do I care about seeing, like, witnessing history in the pool or whatever of somebody getting their seventh gold, or, something like one of those historic moments that you'll see every time the Olympics are on? Or do I go, like, make sure I get a good night's sleep for my golf tournament tomorrow? It's a weird spot.
Yeah, for sure. And I I don't want to downplay like all these people are such ridiculous professional athletes and so good at what they do. I'm sure they know what their body needs, and they know what it takes to perform at the highest level. Um, just an an interesting thing that's kind of been on my mind as I think about this week. Um, and then I think you pointed to it a little bit, but I wanted to bring up the idea of kind of playing for your country or playing individually, because Rory McIlroy has come out and said, and not so much this year, but in prior years, and said, and I think it comes with the part that he's actually playing for Ireland, right? And he's from Northern Ireland, so like he's not 100% connected to the country of Ireland, at least not from birth and not where he lives. So I think that's a little bit as to what continues to push it, but it's kind of he's come out and said, hey, I want to win an individual, I want to win a gold medal because I want to be, I want to win a gold medal as an individual. I'm not overly patriotic, right? Like he lives the majority of his life in Florida. He spends the majority of his time in the US, right? His wife's from the US, his daughter's a US citizen. Like I think there's a level of, just being not as patriotic that I think for him it's probably a normal tournament, right? Like he's doing it because Ireland wants him to do it and he's going to respect his country, but he's
Yeah.
not doing it for them. So I just think like we have that type of motivation that who knows this week, maybe that's the type of motivation that it takes. Someone to be a little bit distant and a little bit disconnected, um, and really kind of just focusing on themselves. I would love Rory to win a gold medal. I don't know. His form hasn't been great by any means. What do you think? What do you think about Rory and kind of those comments and his chances this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and we've touched on it with Rory, pretty much all year. It's not there, but something like that where he's kind of like it might be like a little bit of like a fuck you, like I don't know, like like I know I'm wearing Ireland and I, respect, but I'm not here for them. I'm here for me, and like maybe playing with that kind of chip on his shoulder, little bit of attitude, a little spunk in his step, like it might be something that triggers him. I mean, I think he's also following his Instagram. It's been more active this week than ever with like Omega stuff. So like it might also be not only Ireland pushing him, but like his sponsor being like, hey, like, you got to play in the Olympics. Like, come on, dude. Like some, again, this is all hypotheticals here, but like from the outside looking in, it might be a little push from there. So it's like, could go either way. I think it's either he's, in the mix and like basically saying like, I'm doing this for me, like whatever, or he just is like a no show completely. I think it's like one or the other with him, and it all depends on, like we've been saying forever with him, like where his mental's at and kind of if he can, kind of self motivate and not need other people to kind of bring him there. But I think again, going to motivation and kind of the country aspect, I think on the opposite side of that, this week being like I said, 60 player field, a little bit thinner, giving out 3 medals, all that stuff, it kind of opens the door for somebody you don't really know, or you may have heard, but they're not a staple on the PGA Tour by any means, or even the European Tour for that matter. That is just so excited to have the opportunity and so like lifted up by their country and their patriotism, whatever whatever the correct word is for the given country, like all those factors that they're all of a sudden making a charge. And guys like Rory or JT or Xander or Morikawa or Hideki or whatever, they might not have a great week or whatever, and you have this guy that just lightning in a bottle for my country and just like lifted up by the moment, and like not a millionaire golfer where like at the end of the day, like these guys are not living and dying by their Olympic medal. This is not going to be their claim to fame for most of the guys that we've kind of been talking about. Where if you're, I'm not even going to throw a name out because it might be just disrespectful picking one, but like you're one of these people that is just like playing for, your 300th in the world rankings or something like that. And you've been scraping and clawing on certain tours, and you had a hot streak where you qualified for your country to be in this Olympic field. And like, this is it for you. Like, this is where this is going to be your claim to fame, whether it's in your country or in the golf history books in general. Like, you have that opportunity, that kind of storyline. And for me, that feels a lot like something in like a US Open where, every couple of years we get an amateur that's, top 20, top 15 going into the weekend. And everybody, it's like, it's super cool to watch that, right? I think at the women's US Open this year, we had something like that where the 17 or 18-year-old that's like a New
Yeah.
Jersey high school student, whatever she was.
Like it started with a G, Gane or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Where
Megan.
she was in the lead after day one and very involved until really Saturday afternoon of that tournament. But like, that's the kind of like really cool aspect that I think this Olympic golf event is going to bring, that you certainly don't see every week on the PGA Tour, and honestly see once every 5 years, we'll call it, in professional golf in general, where you have an amateur with that kind of like, it feels like the whole, for this event, it'll be their whole respective country is like, holy shit, like look at this person out of nowhere, like going for a medal. It's like you see someone like, and to jump sports here, like I can't think of the name again, but like the Alaskan swimmer for the United States that got a gold medal a couple nights ago, like the first gold medal for somebody born in Alaska or something along those lines. Like you see all those videos of them watching it in like gymnasiums, and the whole country's going nuts. Like having a field like we have this week, I know it's only 60 players, but about a third to maybe half of those you probably never even heard of before. This could be like their moment like that for their country, where like they go out, they get it, they take down, the four of the top 12 players in the world from the United States, guys like Rory, guys like Hideki in his home country, like they sneak in there and get a medal. Like it just means so much more to somebody like that, that like they're like, hey, I have an opportunity here to like really, like, yes, I want to enjoy myself, enjoy the experience. It's like awesome I qualify, but like this is like my best shot to actually, be a remembered name in golf history, because I'm not a top 30 player in the world that's going to rack up PGA Tour events or European Tour events or whatever it may be. So it's like, this is my shot. And I think the Olympics kind of, obviously the way it's structured and everything, like better than most, is going to give us the opportunity for like an awesome storyline like that, where like, even if it's not going to be a United States guy that has that just due to the firepower that we have, but like you're not going to root against him, right? Like I'm going to probably pull for him too, if given whatever country it is, like all of a sudden that kind of storyline injects itself into the conversation. I just think that's a really cool opportunity that this event's kind of laying out for us.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with that. I think I would love, to have, and no name is not appropriate to call them, because they're playing in the Olympics for their country, right. And they're a top 300 player in the world, or whatever right. Kind of the parameters are to get into this. But, and I think there's a couple guys that I know, like that are like kind of middle of the road European Tour players, right? That are like, there's guy Sami Väsecki or whatever his name is from Finland, who's a really solid European Tour guy, but like, unless you watch European Tour golf every single morning on the weekends or something, you probably never heard of him. But he's a guy who was Rookie of the Year on the European Tour, didn't win, but had a really solid year, and is kind of one of those up and coming guys that's like 24, 25, right? And we might not see him on. We're not going to see him on this Ryder Cup, but we could see him on a few, like a Ryder Cup, down the line. In 2 or 4 years. Say that again.
Like get his name in the mix, kickstart his career, and really
get a sponsor exemption somewhere. Yeah. Like, I think there's some of those opportunities, and right. And for some of those guys like that you talked about, that are really, maybe playing on PGA Tour China or PGA Tour Canada or whatever, or on some sort of developmental tour all over the world. If you go out there and win a medal, that is something no one can take away from you on your resume either. Like, as much as, yeah, it's only 60 people in the field, and if you were to stack this up against a PGA Tour event or something, like, it would probably be the weakest field in
It's actually
all of
higher
the
than
PGA.
It's higher than the John Deere field ranking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that's because, like, look at how top heavy it is. With, like, if you
Yeah.
go like the U.S. guys and then Lowry and like Rory, Paul Casey, Fleetwood, like there's like a decent amount of top 30 guys in there that
Yeah.
hold it up where those guys don't go to the John Deere. But yeah, it's like ranking like 319 or something. I don't know where that is
Yeah.
in the
What?
scale, but it's like 319. It's like just behind the Abu Dhabi and like ahead of the like Honda Classic and the John Deere or some shit.
Okay.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think, right, if you go out there and you win a medal, that is something you can kind of stick in the ground and say, hey, what are my opportunities to maybe get a different agent or something that just your name just surfaces on a global level
Mm-hmm.
that
Like
previous,
same
like you're
thing.
saying. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a unique opportunity, and definitely going to be rooting for some of those guys this week.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of chatting it, like when we were talking about, strength of schedule, our strength of tournament in the field, like, but that's not everything this week. I wanted to kind of bring up the question and kind of, pose the question of where does this fall, right? Like, where does winning a medal or winning a gold medal fall as compared to winning a PGA Tour event? Like, is this better? And, not to pick on a PGA Tour event or whatever, so we'll just go standard. Like, is this better than the Rocket Mortgage Classic in
Yeah.
Detroit?
Yeah.
But is it better than winning at Riv, right?
Right. I think the immediate impact is just above a PGA Tour event, but like not all of them, right? Like it's not above a Players, it's not above, like you said, like Riv or like something like at Pebble, right? Like where those are iconic PGA Tour venues, right? But at the same time, I think that's really a short term look. Like I think long term, this is better than almost any PGA Tour event outside of probably the Players, just due to the history that's already at the Players. But like longevity, kind of like to your point, you're saying like nobody can ever take a medal away from you, and especially given it's once every 4 years, it's like I don't remember who won the Players in 2006, but like I'll remember who won the Ryder Cup in like 2006 or that Ryder Cup, sorry, the Olympics, right? I remember Justin Rose, and I'll remember this year, and like maybe in 30 years, I don't remember all of them, but I just think like longevity wise, it means more. However, you like in the immediate moment of it, like yeah, like JT's not going to lose sleep if he like doesn't win this week, but like I think 30 years from now when he's kind of off the PGA Tour and moving on with other aspects of his career, it's just like an awesome resume item to have that nobody can take away from you, and that will be so unique that like it will have its value in the long term versus like yeah, right now, like I'm sure some of these guys, like if they were to win, would probably trade it for you know whatever PGA Tour event just due to everything that comes with winning a PGA Tour event, right? Like,
Mhm.
exemptions, status, all that kind of stuff to like kickstart a career. But I think this is just like unique in the fact that like in 30 years, you know, if not many guys get multiple chances at this just due to like every 4 years, right? Like you got to be the top 3 or 4 out of your country to be even a thought about in this kind of tournament. But I think it just like in 30 years it'll mean more than any PGA Tour event. But I don't think you can put it above a major just due to what a major brings in the history of golf and the way that plays. But to answer your question, above a PGA Tour event, but in the long term and never above a major. That's where I land. Short
Well,
term, probably not. But
quickly shout out the 2006 Players Champion Stephen Ames routed the field that week.
yeah,
14
see, like,
under,
and
14 under. Next best was Retief Goosen at 8 under, and then a host of random people: Jim Furyk, Henrik Stenson, Pat Perez at 5 under. So Stephen Ames got it done that week at the Players Championship. So,
fuck Stephen Ames.
but yeah, I agree. I would say it's above a PGA Tour event, just for the sheer fact that the lasting legacy that it was. I think I kind of put it in the perspective of if you won one if you won one event in your
Yeah,
career as a pro golfer, would you rather win a gold medal or would you rather win a PGA Tour event?
gold
You're
medal.
probably going to say a gold medal. If you
Mhm.
won one tour, if you won one event, on the PGA Tour and it was between a major and a gold medal, you're probably going to pick. I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
close though. If you
I
really limit it to truly one event only, it might be the one that stands out the most just due to the infrequency of it. There's only going to be so many people that win a gold, right? Like
unless it's the Masters and you get to play every week, every year for the rest
that.
of your life.
Good call. That's a good point. Very good point. Because yeah, that's a good one. Because you don't have to qualify for that once you win it. That's a good one. I think outside of the Masters, though, I think you can make an argument that a gold medal would be more valuable. And to like really nail it, like to another angle that I think a lot of these guys could play. I think of a guy like Patrick Reed or a guy like Xander. And even like I think this really applies to Justin Rose. Like when these guys, retire and their career gets put up against, for generations to come, like or even to get into Hall of Fame or anything like that, like this will be a part of that, like not that it's going to be the deciding factor, but it will help, right? Like a guy like Justin Rose won a bunch of times on tour, has a major, has an Olympic gold. Like if he gets another major, like you add the Olympic gold in there, that might be enough to like, like be something like it just again, that doesn't apply to everybody in this field, but that definitely is something like, and I think JT and Morikawa, like, unless something drastic changes with them, like they'll probably be in without needing a medal or anything like that. Like they won't need much help by the end of their careers. But I think of a guy like Xander who hasn't won a ton, but like this could be, something that gets him going and all of a sudden he racks up some wins and now his career is on a whole nother trajectory. Or I really just like looking at Rose, like due to like the longevity of his career and whatnot, if he finds a way to get another major and maybe another win or something like that along the way the next 5 years, you add that plus an Olympic gold, like now that conversation's a little different when it comes to something like a Hall of Fame. But it's a lot of interesting stuff this week, and I'm at the end of the day, I'm really excited to watch some golf, and see one of these ridiculous storylines that we have options of. Hopefully, we get something fun to watch come Saturday night and into Sunday.
Yeah, no, I'm on board. It's gonna be a fun weekend of golf. Excited for, you know, sort of prime time. I obviously right the with the time difference and kind of the time slotted for Golf Channel and everything. It's gonna be tough to see the leaders on any given day, but it's still prime time golf, and I know right tonight and then Friday night. Like if I go to a bar on Friday night, I'm gonna ask them to play the Olympic golf, right? Like I don't know if I'm going to, but like if I go, like that's gonna be something I watch.
Mhm.
Um, so I think definitely must tune in to at least see what it is because I remember the Olympics in Rio, but I don't remember it vividly enough to kind of remember how I felt about it or the
Mhm.
viewing experience or whatever. And the Olympics, I don't know how much you've watched of the general, like just the Olympics in general this year. It's it's tough. Like I think some are done well, but I think there's also been some events that I wouldn't say have been, you know, I don't think the coverage has been great by any means. Like
Yeah.
I so I don't know. So I think it's tough. And I think they try to do a really great job in the Olympics of kind of letting the athletes speak for themselves and not doing too much commentating, which I do
Mhm.
appreciate. But I think there's been a little too much of kind of, you know, popping over to, something for a short period of time, kind of showing the highlights. We end
Yeah.
up a lot with Mike Tirico or some like there's a weird interview with Michael Phelps and
Yeah.
the gym like the gymnast the other day, like just kind of like I want to watch the sports. I don't really want to watch
Yeah. That's
the Today Show, but
yeah. Yeah, that's definitely been my biggest critique too of the, week or so that I've been watching. It's like I don't know. It's like it just seems like it's just okay. Here's a 2 minute highlight, and then we're switching sports completely. It's like I have no context to anything going on here. Like okay, they got a 14-6 on that beam routine. What the hell is going on in the event? That like, what does that mean?
Mhm.
And I get it. You can only fit so much on the few hours of TV you have and all that, but like I agree. We need a little more continuity, build some context for the event, whatever it may be. I don't know. I'm hoping the Golf Channel does a good job of it. Again, I'm
Hmm.
sure I don't know how it all gets covered, but no, at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to it. And it's early. Olympics go on for a long time. Maybe they'll find their stride over the next week or so.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to the rest of the Olympics. And, you know, this will be our last podcast of the month of July. Um, we have a fun August, for everybody and for all our followers out there. We're going to be on the road a little bit. Um, I'm playing in the Illinois Open next week. Last couple of days of my job here, so we got to figure out what Zoom account we're going to use after this.
We're on it. Don't worry.
So yeah, so if anyone out there has a a great alternative to Zoom, we're we're open and willing to look at different options. We also take sponsorships, so whatever people want to send our way. So we'll have some fun content from that next week. Traveling a little bit for some other tournaments. Obviously, we're heading to Ireland here in 3 weeks or so.
Sir.
So figuring out kind of the final details in that. It's I haven't been as excited about an email chain in a long time as I have been as to, hey, should we reserve caddies at all these places?
Yeah.
Can we take a cart midweek so we can, save the dads a day of walking,
Hmm.
right? And I think as that gets closer, it's, hey, is there a restaurant or two, or reaching out to our family or friends who have been to Ireland or played golf over there. Hey, where do we need to spend our time when we're not on the golf course?
Hmm.
Um, Ryder Cup memorabilia at Adari Manor for our first location. Like
Big
we
time.
got like the pockets will be empty by the end of the week.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I got an international credit card for this trip. I'll be swiping the shit out of that thing. Deal with it later.
yeah, it's definitely like a September problem.
Yeah.
Push that off. Hopefully you have a late in September credit card bill. Um, so it allows for ample time, to save up. But yeah, looking forward to the Olympics here. Looking forward to the month of August. I think too, as golf kind of winds down once the playoffs are done, excited to get into some new content and really, obviously we'll be doing some traveling and stuff like that in Ireland. I think that's going to be kind of our first kind of run, our first kind of attempt at documenting these actual travel trips and kind of
Hmm.
showing the things that we like to do and how much fun that could be. And for our listeners and our followers out there who want to do a similar trip, kind of giving them some insight on the good, the bad, the ugly. And then also too, like I just think we're going to have some more time to dive into some things, and we continue to say it and we haven't done it as much. And I will put my hand up as someone who has not pushed it forward, but we want to chat more booze, we want to chat more food and
Hmm.
all those things that come with that. So if there's anyone out there that has a cocktail that they want to show to the world, slide in our DMs. You can make that
Tell me.
cocktail.
Send it to
we
us.
we will send you a bottle of whatever you need to make this cocktail, and you can make something special. You want to, whatever the case may be, send us 10 videos. We'll edit them and we'll put them up on the Instagram. We'll make you look pretty. We'll filter your face. I don't care what you need. But like, we just want to, we really want to open ourselves up to doing some different things out there. And, we want to listen to our viewers, right? Not everyone plays a ton of golf,
Yeah.
but they enjoy the game, right? But it's the other aspects of it and the other aspects of life that we want to dive into a little bit more. When we're all together, we don't play. I mean, we play golf, but like
Do a
that's a
lot of other stuff.
that's
Yeah.
a small portion of what we like to
Yeah.
do. So for everyone out there, really like send us ideas. And we're going to be kicking it up and expanding our horizons and producing content kind of over all our different avenues and YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and stuff like that. So um, excited to do that, and it's going to be a fun ride. So
Absolutely.
Mr. Fontaine, always good chatting with you, and take it easy. Enjoy the Olympics this week and enjoy that primetime golf.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Yep, see you, buddy.